One day, strange black monuments suddenly fell from the sky and crashed into cities worldwide. No one knew what they were, but panic spread instantly. Moments later, massive barriers rose around them. Purple pillars of energy pierced the sky, sealing entire areas and trapping everything inside. Then the real nightmare began. Terrifying creatures called disaster beasts emerged from within the barriers and invaded the human world. Humanity was slaughtered, cities collapsed, families ran for their lives, but the monsters showed no mercy. In a single day, the world turned into hell. As chaos spread across the city, a massive blue flamed monster rampaged through the streets. People ran in every direction, but the creature moved faster, crushing everything in its path. The beast locked onto a fleeing family. Its jaws opened wide as it charged forward, blue energy burning around its body like a storm. Just as it attacked, a powerful vortex of energy suddenly formed in front of them. The swirling force pushed back the monster's advance and disrupted its strike. On the ground, the injured boy reached out weakly while calling for his mother. Surrounded by destruction, he could only watch as the nightmare continued around him. Suddenly, he hears his name being called and snaps back to reality. The terrifying scene disappears, replaced by the familiar surroundings of school. A pink-haired girl walks beside him and notices he has been spacing out. She asks what is wrong, but he brushes it off and claims it is nothing. She looks at him more closely, sensing something is off. His expression is tense, and his eyes are unfocused, as if he is still trapped in a nightmare. When she points out that he is crying, he freezes. Only then does he realize tears are running down his face, even though he does not understand why. At school, his friend mentions a sudden assembly and notices he looks tired. He tries to act normal, but his mind is still stuck on the disaster beasts. During the assembly, they explain that after the disaster beasts appeared, some humans awakened special powers. These people became known as the Awakened and fought back during the large-scale conflict called the River Crossing War. The speaker also warns that although attacks have decreased, new monuments are appearing again. Another large-scale disaster could happen at any time. They introduce Izumi Nento, the commander from the northern continent and one of the first awakened. His friend explains that despite his strange appearance, he was the first to uncover the truth about the monuments and disaster beasts. The commander is introduced as one of the strongest awakened and a symbol of humanity's resistance. His presence alone commands the entire hall. He reveals that recent research has discovered something shocking. Even ordinary people may awaken if they come into contact with a monument. He announces that he came personally to let the students attempt the awakening. Those who succeed must devote themselves to fighting the disaster beasts. To demonstrate, he unleashes his power. Lightning bursts across the hall, tearing through the floor and walls, proving the overwhelming strength of the awakened. As the monument rises from the ground, the students are stunned. Some cannot believe what they are seeing, while others treat it like a miracle. Excitement quickly spreads through the crowd. Many see this as their once-in-a-lifetime chance to become awakened and change their fate. His friend eagerly pushes him forward, determined not to miss the opportunity. The pink-haired girl calls after him, worried he is rushing in without thinking. Standing in line, he remains silent and serious. While everyone else dreams of power, his expression shows something far more complicated. As his turn approaches, he steps forward with a calm but determined expression. This is the moment he has been waiting for. One by one, students touch the monument, but most of them fail to awaken. The officials quickly move them aside and call the next person without hesitation. Even a top athlete who broke school records fails to awaken. The crowd begins to realize that talent and physical ability mean nothing here. As disappointment spreads and names keep getting called, the tension rises. Now, it is finally his turn to stand before the monument. So far, not a single student has awakened. The crowd grows restless, and disappointment begins to spread across the hall. When Oshi Hikaru is called, tension rises. Some students whisper that if someone like him gains power, it could cause serious trouble. As he touches the monument, the atmosphere suddenly shifts, the air trembles, and the stone begins to react violently. In the next instant, lightning explodes from the monument. Energy surges through the hall as everyone watches in shock, realizing that someone has finally awakened. The monument confirms his awakening. Oshi Hikaru becomes a lightning elementalist with solid stats, making him the first awakened student in the school. Although his overall score is average, it is still a success. The officials acknowledge the result, and the crowd reacts with excitement. He proudly celebrates, convinced this achievement will finally make others recognize him. Confidence quickly turns into arrogance. As he boasts about being the first awakened, he mocks the others. Meanwhile, the black-haired boy watches silently from behind, his expression unreadable. Ignoring the tension, the black-haired boy steps forward and cuts through the line. Oshi angrily questions him, warning him not to touch the monument recklessly. The crowd whispers his name and assumes he is finished if Oshi targets him. To them, this is nothing more than a reckless move. However, as he places his hand on the monument, the atmosphere changes. The commander senses an intense and overwhelming emotion coming from him. With cold determination in his eyes, he silently vows never to forget the hatred he feels toward the disaster beasts. Unlike the others who seek power for glory, his resolve is driven by something far deeper. The moment he touches the monument, his vision shifts. A powerful presence appears before him, towering like a divine warrior formed from pure energy. The monument begins to resonate violently. Symbols and light spiral upward as an overwhelming force surrounds him. Outside, the energy spreads far beyond the stage. A massive barrier of light expands, covering the entire school in a glowing dome. Everyone watches in shock as the phenomenon intensifies. It is clear that this awakening is nothing like the one before. It is on an entirely different level. The pillar of light shoots hundreds of meters into the sky. Everyone is stunned, realizing this awakening far surpasses the previous one. Students stare in disbelief, calling it even more spectacular than Oshi's awakening. The commander calmly confirms that this is exactly what he expected. He reveals that this rare phenomenon only occurs when an extremely special job appears, an order breaker, one of the rarest existences. As the crowd watches in awe, Oshi clenches his teeth in frustration. The spotlight that once belonged to him has completely shifted. As the light fades, a status window appears before him. To everyone's shock, his base stats are all 0. However, his job is revealed as Order Breaker, a fixed and rare class. He also receives a special gift called Nirvana, along with a unique skill named Overmimesis. Overmimesis allows him to analyze enemy attacks and gain counter skills. Through Nirvana, every skill he acquires increases his stats instead of leveling up normally. Realizing this, he smiles confidently. Even without traditional growth, he understands he can become stronger in his own way. As the system finishes updating, a blinding light erupts from the monument. The energy becomes so intense that everyone is forced to shield their eyes. He stands calmly within the storm of light, firmly declaring that he will annihilate the disaster beasts. His awakening is no longer in doubt. The monument trembles as power surges around him, reshaping the space itself. The overwhelming aura leaves the entire hall speechless. Even the commander is stunned. They realize that his stats are far beyond those of a normal rookie, marking him as one of the most extraordinary awakened in history. When the light finally settles, his stats are revealed. Every value shoots up at once, reaching overwhelming numbers that stun the entire hall. Students erupt in cheers, calling him the strongest. Teachers are left speechless, realizing this moment will go down in school history. However, not everyone celebrates. Oshi watches with burning jealousy, furious that the spotlight and praise have shifted away from him. Consumed by anger, Oshi releases his lightning and attacks, declaring that someone like him should remain a loser. The hall freezes as the confrontation begins. Oshi launches his newly acquired lightning skill, determined to eliminate him on the spot. The attack surges forward like a raging serpent, but the moment the skill activates, a system message appears before him. Overmimesis automatically detects the C-rank skill and begins analyzing it. A progress bar rapidly climbs as he calmly watches the incoming attack. Even as the lightning closes in, his expression does not change. Before the strike can overwhelm him, the analysis nears completion. What was meant to defeat him is about to become his own weapon. In a flash of electricity, he suddenly vanishes. The crowd panics, unable to see where he went. He reappears behind Oshi, radiating a cold blue aura. Oshi freezes in fear as the analysis percentage climbs toward completion. Grabbing him from behind, he calmly states that if Oshi were a disaster beast, he would have died countless times already. With overwhelming pressure, He slams Oshi down effortlessly. As the progress nears completion, the difference in their strength becomes undeniable. The analysis reaches 100%. In an instant, the system confirms that the C-rank skill Thunderbreaker has been successfully acquired. Lightning wraps around his body, but instead of harming him, it synchronizes with his aura. The crowd realizes he has copied Oshi's skill completely. The monument begins glowing once again as new notifications appear. His newly acquired skill boosts his stats and even removes debuffs while healing injuries. Standing calmly within the storm, he understands the true potential of Overmimesies. Every enemy attack can now become his own power. Lightning now cloaks his entire body. The aura surrounding him shines even brighter than Oshi's, leaving everyone stunned. As Thunderbreaker fully integrates, his stats rise again. Each attribute increases, pushing his total power to an even higher level. Oshi can only stare in disbelief, unable to understand how his own skill was copied and surpassed so effortlessly. Suddenly, the sky darkens. What was sunny moments ago turns stormy, and something begins falling from above, signaling that this awakening has triggered something far bigger. Dark monuments begin falling from the sky once again, this time directly onto the school. The sudden storm confirms that something has been triggered. The commander immediately cancels the assembly and orders a full evacuation. Students are told to leave the grounds just as they practiced in drills. The awakened prepare to fight, but tension fills the air. It becomes clear that this attack is not random. Watching calmly amid the chaos, he realizes the truth. The monuments are not here by coincidence, their target is him. The monuments crash down, and disaster beasts begin pouring out onto the school grounds. Students scatter in fear as chaos spreads instantly. While everyone runs, he stands still in front of the falling monument. His eyes glow red as the storm intensifies around him. His friends desperately tell him to escape, reminding him that he just awakened and cannot face monsters alone. But with unwavering resolve, he declares that he will exterminate every single one of them, choosing to face the invasion head-on. As the disaster beasts spread across the field, his friends beg him to run. He calmly tells them to trust him and prepares to face the threat alone. Even when warned that the enemy is a walking weapon of mass destruction, he does not hesitate. Instead, he steps forward while they retreat in fear. A sinister smile appears on his face as his red eye glows brighter. He declares that his first enemy after awakening stands right in front of him. Surrounded by lightning, he reveals the truth: this monster is the one who killed his parents, and for him, that makes this fight nothing but destiny. The disaster beast finally reveals itself, a towering skeletal warrior engulfed in blue flames, radiating overwhelming pressure. Lightning wraps around his body as he considers using the new skill he just obtained. The skeletal warrior charges straight at him without hesitation. Instead of retreating, he activates his power. Thunder roars across the field as he launches forward to meet the attack head-on. With fierce determination, he refuses to let anyone else die. His strike cuts through the rain and collides directly with the monster. The impact explodes in a surge of blue lightning, shaking the battlefield as his counterattack lands with full force. His lightning strike sends the skeletal soldier crashing straight into the school building with a single blow. The students watch in shock, realizing his strength is far beyond a rookie awakened. Some begin to believe they may not need to run after all. His speed and power clearly surpass other level 0 awakened, but the teachers warn them not to be careless. A skeleton soldier possesses two dangerous abilities. The first greatly boosts its defense. The second is far worse. Bone Fire, a cursed flame that turns anything it touches into ash. And now, that blue fire begins to rise again. The skeleton soldier activates Bone Fire, its cursed flames surging violently. The students scream his name, fearing he will be burned alive. The monster mocks him, confident that the blue fire will reduce him to ash in seconds. But instead of panicking, he allows the flames to engulf him. His system immediately begins analyzing the enemy's skill. As the fire makes contact, his analysis speed increases. Rather than being destroyed, he calmly uses the attack itself to grow stronger. The bone fire completely engulfs him. Even a level 10 awakened wouldn't survive a direct hit, and everyone believes this genius will die before he can even grow. But inside the flames, he remains standing. His body burns, yet he calmly observes the sensation instead of screaming in pain. As the analysis percentage keeps rising, memories of his mother another flash through his mind, strengthening his resolve. Watching closely, someone realizes the truth: he hasn't even used his full power yet, and the battle is far from over. The bone fire continues to burn, and everyone believes it's over. They think a rookie awakened stood no chance from the start. But the analysis suddenly reaches 100%. A new skill is acquired: Black Wall, and his stats surge even higher. The flames no longer consume him. Instead, his body regenerates, all injuries are healed, and a powerful defensive layer forms around him, now stronger than before. He calmly concludes that with this increase in power, breaking the skeleton soldier's defense is no longer impossible. The blue flames fade, revealing him standing unharmed. A massive lotus-shaped aura blooms behind him, proving he survived the bone fire completely. The students cheer in disbelief. What should have been certain death turns into a full recovery, almost like a miracle. The teachers are stunned. He used lightning before, yet now he shows regeneration strong enough to erase all damage instantly. They realize the truth: his job, Order Breaker, is far more mysterious than anyone imagined, and he may be something entirely unique among the awakened. After recovering perfectly, he calmly questions the limits of his self-healing. He wonders whether it would still work if his limbs were severed or even if his brain were destroyed. The skeleton soldier refuses to give him time to think and charges again, unleashing another wave of blazing bone fire. This time, instead of simply enduring it, he activates his newly acquired power. A cold aura begins forming over his burning body. The raging blue flames start to freeze and solidify. Fire meets ice, and the battlefield shifts as he turns the monster's ultimate attack against itself. The frozen bone fire condenses into a massive surge of power around him. Lightning and icy energy spiral together, forming a devastating counterattack. In a single burst of speed, he dashes forward, slicing through the storm he just created. The skeleton soldier is caught off guard as the attack crashes into it, smashing its armored body into the wall. Electricity explodes across its frame, cracking its defenses. For the first time, the disaster beast is the one being overwhelmed. In the blink of an eye, he vanishes and reappears behind the skeleton soldier. His speed is so overwhelming that it looks like teleportation. The students can't even follow his movements. Only trained awakened might be able to track what he's doing. Before the monster can react, he strikes again, shattering more of its defense with precise, overwhelming force. Fragments of ice and energy form into solid armor around his body, and even weapons take shape from his power, proving he's no ordinary rookie, but something far beyond it. With the skeleton soldier defeated, the battlefield finally grows quiet. He stands calmly, as if nothing extraordinary just happened. His friend rushes in and hugs him tightly, relieved that he survived. Everyone had feared the worst. As the crowd gathers, he looks around and notices someone missing. She had been watching earlier, her expression on the verge of tears. Now she's nowhere to be seen. A strange feeling settles in his chest as he wonders whether she left out of anger or something deeper. The teachers are still in disbelief. A rookie defeating a skeleton soldier so easily is something even high-level awakened would struggle with. His friend reassures him that Seiya isn't angry. She was probably just scared of falling behind and went to check the monument instead. Still, a small doubt lingers in his mind. While they talk, an official orders the cleanup and asks for a report to be sent to the principal. Then he makes a shocking decision: he's taking the boy with him. He steps closer and confirms his name. The air turns tense as it becomes clear that this battle was only the beginning of something much bigger. The students whisper among themselves, shocked that Izumi Mento is personally speaking to him. Some even wonder if he's trying to make him his student. His friend awkwardly excuses himself, deciding to go look for Seiya, leaving him alone with the masked official. The official stares at him and calmly says that he's quite special. The words carry weight, as if he's already seen through everything. He simply repeats the word in confusion, but deep down he knows this encounter could change the direction of his entire future. The masked man senses something deeper within him. He calmly says that his heart is filled with anger and hatred. Standing in front of the ruined battlefield, he asks him the reason behind that darkness. After a brief silence, he answers quietly, 10 years ago, his parents were killed by disaster beasts while protecting him. As the memory flashes back, his eyes burn with pain pain and rage. That tragedy became the foundation of his power and the reason he refuses to lose. He recalls that 10 years ago, he was about to be killed too. At that very moment, he awakened and survived. But before that, he watched his mother die right in front of him. Her final words told him to keep walking forward on his own. As a child, he screamed for her, helpless and broken. The memory still burns as clearly as it did that day. Clenching his fists, he declares that those disaster beasts are the root of all evil. From that moment on, his path was set to destroy them all. In that burning memory, he saw the true source of his hatred, a monstrous being standing like a god of destruction. To him, that creature was the root of all evil. That day, with tears and rage mixing together, he made a vow. No matter what it took, he would kill that demon. Not just that one, but every single one of its kind. His eyes burned with fury as he swore to wipe them all out. Yet even as hatred filled his heart, tears still streamed down his face, proof that beneath the rage, he was still just a grieving child. He explains that ever since witnessing his mother's death, he stopped crying, but one eye still sheds tears on its own. That pain constantly reminds him of his hatred for the disaster beasts. Hearing this, the masked man makes him an offer. He asks him to join the Salvation League and promises to help him gain the power needed for revenge. The Salvation League is the government's official force against disaster beasts. Its members, known as saviors, are trained with advanced methods and powerful weapons. On top of that, they receive high compensation. Even trainees earn 10,000 gold a month. The offer is tempting, but the real question is whether he's ready to walk that path. The masked man makes it clear such generous treatment isn't free. Saviors are expected to fight disaster beasts on the front lines and protect humanity. He answers without hesitation. He doesn't care about the money or resources. What matters most is gaining the power to stand on the battlefield himself. Clenching his fist, he declares that he wants to become a savior too. Fighting on the front lines is the only path he's willing to take. The masked man then explains the National Salvation League tournament held every year. Only the top 100 earn the right to become saviors, and he immediately asks about the highest score ever recorded. The masked man reveals the highest record in tournament history, 115,000 points, set 11 years ago by Taewajin. He explains that even a fraction of that score would guarantee first place. The gap between ordinary participants and true monsters is overwhelming. Taewajin, known as the light of humanity, stands as the strongest awakened in history. Comparing oneself to him would only bring despair. Still, the masked man says he is special too. If he believes in himself, he might one day stand shoulder to shoulder with that legend. He looks forward with firm resolve and declares that one day he will surpass Taewajin. The masked man watches him closely, noticing the determination in his eyes. The younger generation has already begun following his path. He speaks about the war against disaster beasts and how someday someone will surpass even the strongest, just like a new sunrise replacing the setting sun. As the sun rises behind them, the masked man quietly says he looks forward to it. A new era may have just begun. The masked man brings him to a massive dome-shaped building. He explains that monuments act as passages connecting their world to the realm of disaster beasts. Even if beasts are eliminated, new ones will continue to emerge from these monuments. That's why they can't simply destroy them all. Instead, this facility isolates the monuments that survived. Awakened regularly enter to eliminate the beasts, keeping the barrier stable while also using it as training. They call these controlled zones stages, but since the level and number of beasts can't be fully predicted, entering them is still extremely dangerous. The masked man warns him that this particular stage is known for its high mortality rate. Among rookie-level stages, it's infamous as the Rookie's Graveyard. He then reveals Jin's past record when he was a rookie. He cleared it in 3 minutes and 14 seconds. If he truly wants to surpass Jin, he must clear the stage in under 3 minutes. As he walks toward the massive dome without hesitation, the masked man makes a bold promise: if he succeeds, he will personally take him as his student. As he enters the facility with Mr. Izumi, people immediately recognize the masked man. Whispers spread, wondering who the rookie walking beside him could be. Some doubt he's worthy of standing next to someone on Taewajin's level. Meanwhile, he quietly wonders if the masked man is really that famous. Inside, he checks the stage information Disaster Beast level 10. That's only 2 levels higher than the skeleton soldier he defeated, but he questions how strong it truly is. Onlookers assume a high-level awakened must be accompanying him, while others mock his confidence. Unfazed by the chatter, he walks forward toward the stage alone. He approaches the counter and calmly says he wants to enter the stage. The receptionist agrees and asks how many challengers will join him. Without hesitation, he answers that he's going alone. His response catches everyone off guard. The receptionist frowns, thinking he must be joking or trying to show off. She warns him that this isn't a place for pointless bravado. She explains that even though it's an artificial stage, it's still extremely dangerous and people can die inside. Unmoved by her warning, he remains firm in his decision to enter alone. The people nearby start laughing, assuming he only came to flirt with the receptionist. They mock him, saying rookies like him usually get embarrassed and leave. Ignoring the noise, he calmly explains that he truly came to challenge the stage and has no interest in anything else. The receptionist misunderstands his seriousness and tells him he doesn't have to act tough out of embarrassment. She even offers to give him her contact information and suggests he just go home. His expression darkens as he firmly tells her to stop talking and simply let him enter the stage. He makes it clear he doesn't care about her contact details, he only wants the challenge. The receptionist snaps at him, telling him not to blame her if he dies. The crowd mocks him, saying this isn't the time to act tough, and that a level 0 rookie challenging a level 10 stage is suicide. Some argue that even with a special grade gift, it won't matter if his level is low. To them, level is everything, and gifts are just a bonus. Still, a few begin to doubt their judgment, noticing his calm confidence. Without responding to the insults, he walks straight toward the entrance. He raises his wrist and prepares to scan his bracelet, knowing his personal information is registered in it. Once scanned, the gate will open and the real test will begin. The system confirms his entry. Awakened Tenma Itsuki has been approved. The gate opens and the stage officially begins. He reminds himself of the promise, clear it within 3 minutes. Taking a deep breath, he steadies his hands and prepares for battle. The timer starts counting down. Every second matters now. In an instant, a violent surge of power explodes from his body. With his eyes burning red and his aura flaring, he launches forward, ready to crush the stage. As soon as he enters, he realizes the interior is far larger than he expected. Even though it's artificial, the atmosphere feels real. He steps forward calmly, sensing movement ahead. This may be his first time in a stage, but he shows no hesitation. A level 4 Kodama from the Kodama tribe suddenly appears. Its stats flash before him: high attack, solid defense, decent agility. The moment it lunges, he reacts instantly. With a single explosive strike, he slams it into the ground, crushing it without giving it a chance to fight back. Inside the stage, more Kodama surround him. Calmly, he summons a massive axe, saying it's the best weapon for cutting trees. With overwhelming force, he cleaves through the monsters, mocking them as nothing more than rotten trees. One swing is enough to split them apart. Outside, the observers question why he was sent to this specific rookie stage. The masked man explains that since he claimed he would surpass Jin, he brought him to the very stage Jin once challenged. They conclude that surpassing Jin is impossible unless someone steps beyond the limits of humanity. But as they watch him dominate the battlefield with ease, they begin to wonder if he might already be doing exactly that. The woman recalls the moment she saw Jin instantly kill a level 47 disaster beast. She had always thought he was kind and approachable, but that day changed her perception. His eyes were cold, distant, almost transcendent. For a brief moment, they didn't even seem human. To her, they felt like the eyes of a god, someone standing far above ordinary people. Now, as she watches the boy fighting inside the stage, she admits he has potential comparable to Jin, but unlike Jin, he is still unpolished, just a gemstone waiting to be refined. They realize Tenma is nothing like Jin. While Jin feels like a distant god, Tenma is more like a demon driven by pure hatred, the complete opposite. Inside the stage, he stands calmly among the fallen monsters. Even powerful abilities like Overmimesies wouldn't work against disaster beasts of this level, yet he defeats them effortlessly. A dark presence rises behind him, his eyes glowing red as a monstrous aura takes shape. His killing intent alone overwhelms the battlefield. Without slowing down, he dashes forward again. In a single, overwhelming strike, another beast is torn apart, his speed and power far beyond what a rookie should possess. After cutting down the monsters, he looks around and questions if that was really the end. If level 10 disaster beasts were only this strong, this place wouldn't be called the rookie's graveyard. He senses something isn't right. There has to be more hidden within this stage. The system suddenly activates. A B rank skill, self-regeneration, is detected, and Overmimesies begins analyzing it. The progress slowly starts increasing. As the analysis runs, he remains alert. His expression sharpens. He knows the real danger hasn't shown itself yet. Suddenly, a regenerated Kodama appears level 10 with a 2 defense grade and massively increased self-healing. Its total stats skyrocket far beyond the previous monsters. The creature attacks instantly, its power overwhelming. He activates Black Wall to block the strike, barely holding his ground as the impact shakes the battlefield. Realizing it can endlessly regenerate, he understands that cutting it down slowly won't work. He needs to deal massive damage in a short time before it heals again. With red eyes blazing, he launches forward at full speed. As the analysis continues rising, he prepares a decisive blow, determined to crush the monster in one overwhelming strike. He clashes head-on with the regenerated Kodama, his blade carving a deep line through its massive body, but even as it splits, its wounds begin to close. Seeing the monster regenerate again, he refuses to back down. If cutting it once isn't enough, he'll tear it apart piece by piece. His eyes glow red as a fierce grin spreads across his face. He decides to mince the creature completely so it won't have a chance to heal. With a final surge of power, he drives his weapon straight through its core, splitting the monster in two and overwhelming its regeneration with sheer force. The Kodama's shattered body suddenly surges with green energy and begins regenerating again, its power rising even further. He realizes maintaining Black Wall for too long is draining his magic. He steadies himself, knowing this next move has to finish it. The monster unleashes a violent barrage of attacks, smashing into him from every direction. Even so, he keeps analyzing its regeneration pattern. He understands that as long as it can heal, normal damage won't work, so he prepares to overwhelm it with a decisive strike before his magic runs out. He cancels Black Wall to conserve magic and switches to Thunderbreaker, dodging while keeping his distance. The only way to win is to stall until the analysis is complete. With lightning surging around him, he pushes both skills at once, forcing the monster to regenerate again and again. The analysis climbs past 70%. He knows he only has 3 minutes. If his magic hits 0 before Overmimesies activates, he's finished. Even as the Kodama traps him in its crushing vines, the progress reaches 80%. Gritting his teeth, he endures, betting everything on the analysis finishing in time. Even as lightning wraps around his body, he tells himself that if he dies here, that's all he'll ever amount to. The analysis reaches 85%. He forces his exhausted body to move, striking again with Thunderbreaker, pushing the monster back despite his fading strength. Blood runs from his mouth, but his red eyes burn even brighter. He refuses to collapse before the analysis completes. Barely standing, he clenches his teeth in frustration, knowing he's on the edge. Just a little more time, and everything will change. Pinned by the monster's vines, he feels his magic finally run dry. The analysis reaches 99%, and he prepares himself for the worst. Then the screen flashes analysis complete. He realizes Overmimesies doesn't require magic to activate. The skill is now his. A new ability unlocks, Lotus Burst. A blue energy sphere expands outward, fueled by every last drop of power he has left. The explosion detonates at point-blank range, engulfing the Kodama in a massive blast, turning the tide of the battle in a single moment. A massive blue lotus blooms around him. Lotus Burst reaches level 2, restoring his injuries, removing debuffs, and boosting all his stats at once. The Kodama stares in shock as the tide completely shifts. His weakened body is instantly restored, and his aura grows even stronger. He clasps his hands and activates Lotus Burst. The energy compresses to its limit, ready to detonate. A blazing explosion erupts from the lotus, engulfing the monster in overwhelming flames and energy, leaving it no chance to regenerate this time. The explosion tears through the battlefield, leaving nothing but smoke and shattered earth. He lowers his hands, realizing Lotus Burst is far more powerful than he expected. With just a fraction of his magic, he wiped out a level 10 disaster beast. Even better, over Mimesy's restored magic that had already dropped to 0. Standing in the crater, bruised but alive, he calmly evaluates the result. From now on, weaker disaster beasts won't stand a chance. As the smoke clears, something catches his eye. A strange green crystal remains at the center of the ruins, proof that the stage isn't over yet. Outside the stage, nearly 3 minutes have passed. The staff begin to panic, thinking there's no way a rookie could clear a level 10 disaster stage that fast. They consider calling the rescue team, convinced he either failed or is barely surviving inside. Then the system screen suddenly flashes green new record achieved. Everyone freezes in disbelief. He didn't just survive the stage, he cleared it in record time. The results screen confirms it challenge success. Stage level 10 cleared in just 2 minutes and 14 seconds. A new record is officially set. The staff stare at the timer in shock. 3 minutes haven't even passed, yet the rookie has already cleared the stage. He steps out calmly, covered in green disaster beast blood, looking completely unfazed despite the brutal fight. The crowd erupts in disbelief. A level 0 rookie just defeated level 10 disaster beasts and shattered the record, leaving everyone questioning what he really is. After clearing the stage, he calmly approaches the masked man and formally asks to receive his guidance as a student. The masked man accepts him without hesitation, praising him as expected of his disciple. The onlookers quickly realize the truth: he's Izumi Nento's student. No wonder he shattered the previous record. But even as admiration spreads, some whisper that unless his level increases, true growth will remain out of reach, hinting that his journey has only just begun. After the announcement, the staff member shyly approaches him with a reward for breaking the record. She apologizes for doubting him earlier. He accepts the box calmly and tells her not to worry, even if he was just a stranger. The fact that she tried to stop him meant she cared. Flustered by his response, she thanks him while he simply nods, showing no resentment at all. Just then, his mentor calls out to him, saying he's leaving. Without looking back at the crowd, he prepares to follow, ready for the next step of his journey. As they walk away, he's told not to get arrogant just because he became the master's student. Still, everyone agrees that a stage of this level is already too easy for him. His mentor suggests he should now challenge advanced stages. It's time to raise the difficulty. While walking through the city, the mentor explains that level alone doesn't determine a disaster beast's strength. The most important factor is species. Beasts that move purely on instinct are simple to handle, but intelligent species are on a completely different level. He learns that some disaster beast species possess intelligence equal to or even greater than humans. These types are far more dangerous than ordinary monsters. Awakened and disaster beasts are essentially similar beings, but humans alone possess jobs. In other words, stats and abilities differ depending on species. Advanced stages contain these powerful, intelligent species, and their difficulty is several times higher than normal stages. His next destination will be the advanced stages in North District 4. Thinking back to the silent beast he defeated earlier, he realizes it lacked intelligence and pain. If intelligent disaster beasts can feel pain, then the next battle will be completely different. As Tenma prepares to challenge an advanced stage, whispers spread through the facility. People are shocked that the rookie who broke the previous record is aiming for something so dangerous. They explain that advanced stages are completely different from normal ones. In North District 4, most of them are practically under one man's control. Every awakened who entered those stages disappeared, and rumors say that man personally killed them. When someone mentions his name Kinoshita Ryuji, the atmosphere instantly turns tense. Others quickly silence him, warning that even speaking carelessly about him could get them in trouble. Meanwhile, the son of the North District's governor, Kinoshita Ryuji, is revealed a powerful figure who treats everything calmly, as if the advanced stages truly belong to him. Ryuji's subordinate asks when he plans to depart. The atmosphere around him is calm, almost relaxed. Despite the tension surrounding the advanced stages, Ryuji casually states that all stages in North District 4 are under his control, implying that no one can move there without his permission. After receiving the ornate box, he opens it and immediately recognizes what's inside. The moment he sees it, memories from the past resurface. Sitting beneath a tree with his teacher, he realizes the item is connected to that time. The object in his hand feels strangely familiar. His teacher asks if he has ever seen a karma stone before. He confirms that after defeating disaster beasts inside the stage, something identical once dropped. However, as he compares it carefully, he notices a subtle difference. Although it looks the same, this karma stone is not exactly like the one from before. He examines the green stone carefully and immediately senses something unusual. Finding an intermediate karma stone inside a beginner stage is abnormal. Curious, he asks what a karma stone truly is. His teacher explains that karma stones are also known as experience stones. After a disaster beast or awakened dies, their corpse releases karma, an invisible substance similar to experience points. That energy condenses into a stone. By absorbing it, one's level increases. In simple terms, a karma stone is a physical form of accumulated karma meant to strengthen the user. His teacher explains that absorbing the karma inside a karma stone is one method of leveling up. However, karma stones normally do not appear naturally inside beginner stages. She questions why such a stone was present in that stage. After thinking for a moment, she concludes it was likely caused by Tenma's unique gift. Hearing this, Tenma quietly activates the stone and absorbs its energy. The condensed karma flows into him, and he levels up instantly. Still confused, he asks what she means by gift. The mystery surrounding his ability and the abnormal stone only deepens. Normally, the karma released from a defeated disaster beast is absorbed by the one who killed it. However, even after defeating 2 disaster beasts, Tenma did not level up. The karma from the beast that attacked the school had already been absorbed by another awakened present at the scene. That meant Tenma had no way to receive it. Since a stage is an enclosed space, the generated karma had nowhere else to go. With no available recipient, it gathered in one place. As a result, the accumulated karma condensed into a karma stone. Realizing this, Tenma understands how his stats increase despite being unable to level up normally. His teacher firmly reminds him that an awakened's gift is top secret and must never be disclosed. Realizing his mistake, he immediately apologizes. She tells him she will be away for a commander-in-chief meeting of the 5 continents. During that time, Choha will look after him. As for the karma stone, the choice to keep or sell it is entirely his. Before leaving, she gives him strict instructions: keep their relationship confidential, never reveal his gift to others, and clear at least 6 advanced stages before she returns. No matter what happens, she assures him that she will stand behind him. Accepting her guidance without hesitation, he responds firmly. With renewed determination, he prepares to move forward toward the advanced stages. At North District 4's Flaming Rock execution ground, a group of students argues with the guards. They insist they arrived first and demand to be let inside. The guards refuse, explaining that the stage has already been reserved by the Kinoshita family's son. The students protest, claiming that just because someone has money doesn't mean he can do whatever he wants. One of them threatens to report the situation to the Awakened Guild, refusing to back down regardless of who the rich kid is. The tension rises as the confrontation escalates. Suddenly, before anyone can react, a powerful figure descends from above and knocks one of the students down, instantly silencing the argument with overwhelming force. The blonde student launches a direct attack, activating his B-rank skill, Earth Spine, and strikes with full force. The blow lands cleanly, But something feels wrong. The impact that should have crushed his opponent does nothing. Stunned, he realizes his skill had no effect at all. The man in front of him doesn't even flinch. With glowing red eyes and an emotionless expression, the opponent calmly states that the attack didn't hurt or itch, revealing a terrifying gap in strength. The blonde student realizes something is terribly wrong. Earth Spine is a technique that pierces through anything, yet it failed completely. He begins to wonder if the man in front of him is even human. Before he can react, the masked man with glowing red eyes steps forward. The pressure alone overwhelms him. In a single motion, the attacker grabs him and slams him down effortlessly. The difference in strength is absolute. There is no chance to fight back. Bystanders reveal the truth. The attacker is Oga Takaru, one of Kinoshita Ryoji's 4 pillars and a level 12 gold elementalist. Facing someone of that level, defeat was inevitable. Oga Takaru grabs one of the students by the head and lifts him effortlessly. He declares that anyone who tries to enter a stage without Ryoji's permission will not be forgiven. He warns that if they resist, he will treat them the same way he treated the others. The defeated students lie on the ground, completely helpless. Ryoji's subordinates watch the scene calmly, laughing as they call the students trash. One of them reminds Takaru not to go too far, since beating weak students could attract the teacher's attention. Takaru scoffs and tosses the student aside without hesitation. His actions make it clear that strength alone decides who has the right to stand there. The injured student suddenly collapses in front of everyone. The crowd is shocked, and someone realizes he's already dead. All eyes turn toward the black-haired newcomer standing calmly beside the blue-haired girl. Takaru glares at him and warns that no one enters the stage without Ryoji's permission. He tells the newcomer to leave quietly unless he wants to end up like the others. The blue-haired girl steps forward and says she will report this to the North District Administrator. She makes it clear that this kind of behavior cannot be tolerated. The black-haired boy lowers his gaze and calmly states that if entering the stage requires defeating Takaru first, then that's exactly what he will do. The black-haired boy calmly says it's not necessary for anyone else to interfere. He tells the blue-haired girl to handle the injured students while he deals with the situation himself. A system window appears, revealing his identity and special job. Despite being level 0, he stands fearlessly in front of Takaru, surrounded by a dark, overwhelming aura. Takaru activates his status display, showing he is level 12 with high defense and the metallization skill. He convinces himself that the huge stat gap can't be overcome. Yet, as he looks at the boy, an unfamiliar pressure weighs on him. For the first time, Takaru feels uneasy, realizing that this opponent might not be as simple as his level suggests. Takaru's expression hardens as he prepares to strike, confident that his superior level and defense will crush the newcomer instantly. But in the next moment, his eyes widen. The black-haired boy suddenly disappears from his sight. Before Takaru can react, the boy closes the distance in a flash, moving faster than his eyes can track. A heavy punch slams straight into Takaru's face, sending shock through his body and shattering his confidence in a single blow. The surrounding students are stunned. They can't believe the newcomer's speed, wondering how someone at level 0 could move that fast. Takaru quickly activates metallization and blocks the attack, his arms turning solid like steel to absorb the impact. The black-haired boy pulls back calmly, analyzing the defense instead of panicking. He acknowledges Takaru's speed and reaction, even with metallization active. Takaru realizes this won't be an easy fight. The gap he trusted so much is starting to feel meaningless. Takaru counterattacks and forces him back. Even though the surprise strike worked, it wasn't strong enough to break through completely. A system window appears, revealing his true stats and skills. His ability, Over Mimeses, detects Takaru's metallization and begins analyzing it. The analysis starts progressing, but it's still incomplete. He realizes he needs more pressure to fully copy and counter the skill. Calmly steadying himself, he decides to get serious. To win against a higher level opponent, he'll have to push his speed and abilities even further. The system confirms that normal attacks can't break through metallized areas. The analysis continues, but it's still too slow to rely on. Realizing this, he shifts tactics. Instead of targeting the hardened parts, he decides to aim for the unprotected areas. Takaru laughs arrogantly, calling him a weakling with no power or speed, confident that metallization makes him untouchable. But the black-haired boy remains calm. He lets Takaru think that was his full speed, then activates Thunderbreaker to push his agility even higher for the next strike. Lightning suddenly wraps around the black-haired boy's body. Before Takaru can react, rapid electric strikes crash into him one after another, not giving him a single moment to fully metallize. The spectators are stunned. They can't believe a level 0 is using skills from a different job, and his speed is so fast that even their eyes can't keep up. The system's analysis percentage keeps rising as each blow lands. Takaru grits his teeth, realizing he doesn't have enough time to activate metallization properly. With every lightning strike, his confidence crumbles. For the first time, Takaru admits to himself that at this rate, he might actually lose. Overwhelmed by the lightning barrage, Takaru can't even scream properly. Desperate, he realizes he has no choice but to go all out. With a roar, he pushes his ability beyond its limits. The lightning surges around him as he forces metallization to spread further than ever before. In the next moment, his entire body turns metallic. The system confirms the analysis is nearly complete as he finally achieves full body metallization. Breathing heavily, Takaru admits he has never succeeded in fully metallizing his body before. But instead of fear, a twisted gratitude appears because this fight pushed him to evolve. Takaru proudly declares that his metallized areas boost his defense by 50%, and his gift adds another 50% while stationary. With full body metallization active, his defense now exceeds 500. He smirks and says he was going to finish this quickly, but as thanks for helping him evolve, he'll make it painless. The spectators are convinced no one at the same level could break through that kind of defense. Meanwhile, the black-haired boy calmly analyzes the situation. The system's progress climbs to 98% as he studies the skill's structure. He concludes that full body metallization consumes a huge amount of magic. If most of Takaru's stats are invested in defense, his remaining magic must be limited, and that weakness is the key to winning. Takaru mocks the idea that his magic could run out. He refuses to believe a level 0 could see through his weakness, but the system window flashes analysis progress reaches 100%. The black-haired boy smiles calmly and says he'll end this quickly. A massive blue lotus-shaped energy begins to bloom around him, radiating intense power. Even the blue-haired girl senses that something extraordinary is about to happen. The spectators are confused, unsure whether it's even an attack skill. But one thing is clear: the moment that Lotus fully unfolds, the outcome of this fight will change completely. The system announces that metallization analysis is complete. A new skill, Clear Orb, is acquired, an attack that ignores defense and penetrates everything in its path. He quickly reviews the conditions. The orb moves slowly, so timing is crucial, but against someone relying on absolute defense, that weakness won't matter. With calm eyes, he locks onto Takaru. Since full body metallization forces him to stay still to maximize defense, he has effectively turned himself into a target. Activating Clear Orb, his stats surge and all injuries are healed. Now, against an opponent who can't move, breaking through that so-called absolute defense becomes inevitable. A radiant blue lotus fully blooms behind him as energy gathers into his palm. The atmosphere grows heavy, and even the air seems to tremble. A dark, swirling sphere forms at his fingertips, the Clear Orb, condensed with overwhelming power that ignores defense entirely. The dark sphere floats forward, glowing with a strange purple light as the blue lotus petals frame it from behind. The spectators stare in disbelief, questioning whether a level 0 could really break through a level 12 defender's guard. Whispers spread through the crowd. Some doubt the skill's power, while others notice his calm expression and realize he must be confident in what he just released. The orb drifts toward its target, small and silent, showing no explosive aura, just a compact, steady presence. Seeing its size, the opponent scoffs at the tiny ball, dismissing it as disappointing, completely unaware of the danger hidden inside. Seeing the small orb approach, the metallized fighter mocks it, confident that such a tiny attack could never force him to move or cancel his gift. He stands still on purpose, believing that if this is his opponent's trump card, then the fight is already over. The orb quietly reaches him and makes contact with his torso, but he doesn't even attempt to dodge, certain his absolute defense defense will nullify it. Then, in an instant, the sphere pierces through his metallized body, tearing into his side, proving that the so-called tiny ball was never meant to be blocked. The orb tears straight through his metallized body, ripping off his arm and splattering blood across the floor. His absolute defense collapses instantly. Standing over him, the victor calmly reminds him that he had already told him to dodge. He explains that since he was human, he deliberately avoided a fatal strike. He points out that if his opponent had been a disaster-class monster, he would have aimed for the neck without hesitation. Ignoring the shocked silence in the room, he orders everyone to stop staring and take the injured man to the hospital, then turns away coldly and tells them to leave him alone. As the defeated fighter is carried away, the crowd finally snaps out of their shock. Some cheer in disbelief, admitting that he truly won. Several hunters rush toward him, praising his performance and eagerly asking to team up so they can clear dungeons faster together. One offers a 3-man team for safer and quicker raids, while another suggests forming a smaller group so he can earn more experience. They even tempt him with a healer who could restore his magic, allowing him to fire those powerful orbs, repeatedly clearly recognizing just how valuable he is now. While the others debate, he calmly analyzes the next stage. The advanced dungeons monsters have defense on par with Oga, making it the perfect environment to strengthen his clear orb. He remembers that the orb's flight speed increases every time it defeats an enemy with higher defense than his own, and he decides to use this stage to push it further. Ignoring the team offers, he makes his choice clear: he's going alone. The crowd is stunned. Challenging a level 15 advanced stage solo sounds reckless, and some assume he's grown arrogant after defeating Oga. Some hunters criticize his decision, admitting he's strong, but saying there's a thin line between confidence and arrogance. They leave, convinced he won't accept their help. The blue-haired mage approaches him instead. She reminds him that all the disaster beasts inside have defense comparable to Oga and questions whether his magic can last. He calmly assures her he'll be fine. While she insists she's not worried, she just doesn't want to be blamed if something happens to him. Before he leaves, she warns him that the Stone Tribe monsters may lack intelligence but move in groups, so he must manage his magic carefully. His entry into the advanced stage is approved, and he steps inside without hesitation. The moment he arrives, he senses the overwhelming presence around him and realizes there are far more monsters than he initially expected. Massive stone statues emerge from the rocky terrain, their glowing eyes locking onto him as the system displays their stats: high defense, low magic, and power converted entirely into durability. As expected from an advanced stage, the disaster beasts here possess far greater levels and stats than before, turning the battlefield into a true test of his strength. Facing the approaching stone beasts, he decides to test whether they meet the clear orb's passive conditions. The blue lotus blooms once more as he activates clear orb, releasing the dark sphere surrounded by crackling purple energy. The orb shoots forward and collides with a charging stone statue, drilling straight through its hardened body without slowing down. In the next instant, the massive creature collapses into rubble, and the system confirms its stone statue. Level 9, defeated. The system immediately confirms its clear orb's flight speed increases by 100%. Just as he expected, the passive condition has been triggered. More stone statues charge at him, their massive bodies shaking the ground as they try to overwhelm him with numbers. Surrounded by lightning, he calmly observes that their slow movement and poor evasion make them perfect targets for clear orb. One after another, the statues are pierced and shattered, and with each defeat, the system announces another 100% increase in the orb's flight speed. After several kills, his magic drops to 110 out of 260. Since each clear orb costs 50 magic, he realizes he only has 2 shots left. 3 enemies remain, 2 charging straight at him, and a boss that still hasn't revealed itself. Knowing he can't afford to waste energy, he decides he has to eliminate 2 targets at once with a single orb. He gathers purple energy in his palm and fires again, the enhanced clear orb blasting forward with overwhelming speed and slamming into the rocky battlefield with explosive force. The orb detonates through the rocky terrain, tearing apart the charging statues in a single, devastating strike. With a sharp command, he unleashes the final burst of power, pushing the enhanced clear orb to finish them off completely. The system confirms the results: multiple stone statues defeated, and once again, the clear orb's flight speed increases by another 100% with each kill. But the strain catches up to him. As his magic nearly runs dry, exhaustion hits hard and he collapses to the ground, wishing he had a skill to recover his magic before it runs out. With multiple boosts stacked, Clear Orb's flight speed skyrockets to 5 times its original rate, fast enough to catch even running enemies. As he prepares his next move, the ground suddenly trembles, and a massive shockwave tears through the rocky terrain. A gigantic stone warrior emerges from the dust, the true boss of this stage. The system immediately detects a B-rank skill and displays its overwhelming stats. Level 15, immense attack power, and nearly 500 defense after converting all magic into durability. The final obstacle has finally revealed itself. Seeing the giant stone boss up close, he realizes just how massive it truly is. He activates Thunderbreaker, boosting his agility to increase his chances of survival. Lightning surges around his body as he analyzes the situation, wondering if a single clear orb strike would be enough to bring the monster down. He decides to target the head, dashing forward at high speed while the boss roars and swings its enormous body. As cracks appear near the monster's face, he notices a brief opening. This might be his only chance to finish the fight in one decisive blow. As he closes in, he quickly realizes the problem: the clear orb is too small. Even if it pierces through, it won't deal enough damage to finish the boss. Before he can adjust his attack, the giant stone monster swings violently, forcing him into midair with no room to maneuver. He understands the danger instantly. Suspended in the air, he has no way to dodge the incoming strike. At the last second, he activates Black Wall. A dark barrier forms around him just as the massive blow crashes down. The impact shakes the entire battlefield, and he feels the monster's overwhelming strength firsthand. The giant is far tougher than he expected. The system detects a B-rank skill gigantification, and another ability activates. The boss isn't just big, it's empowered. Instead of panicking, he smirks. If the monster needed a skill to grow this large, then it's not invincible. To him, that makes things simpler. Meanwhile, outside the stage, observers react in shock as the situation inside continues to escalate beyond expectations. Outside the stage, tension rises as the red-haired man scolds his subordinate for making noise. The situation unfolding inside has clearly caught them off guard. Reports come in someone has defeated Oga and forced their way into the advanced stage. The bald executive's expression turns grim. They can't believe what they're hearing. Oga had always boasted that no one under level 30 could break through his defense. Now, watching the live feed in disbelief, they begin to question whether a high-level awakened individual has secretly entered the camp. They try to rationalize the situation, insisting there's no way a level 10 could defeat Oka. With high-level awakened busy elsewhere, it shouldn't be possible. They remind each other that the Flaming Rock execution ground is mostly challenged by rookies around level 10, making the incident even more unbelievable. One of them suggests gathering more information before acting, warning that the opponent's identity is still unknown and caution would be wise. But the red-haired leader cuts him off decisively. Without hesitation, he orders them to head there immediately, refusing to repeat himself. The order is confirmed. The red-haired leader declares that anyone opposing the Kinoshita family will pay the price. Inside the stage, the protagonist's status stabilizes at full power. He exhales, realizing he no longer has to run like prey. The system completes its analysis of the boss's B-rank skill, gigantification, revealing the mechanics behind its massive form. With the enemy's ability understood and his condition restored, the battle shifts. Now, he's ready to strike back on his own terms. Instead of gaining a new skill, Clear Orb levels up to level 2. Its passive boost doubles from 100% to 200%, and he quickly checks the updated effects. The system reveals a major change after activation. He can now adjust the orb's size by pouring in additional magic. That's the breakthrough he needed. Without hesitation, he decides to test it immediately. His stats stats rise, his injuries are healed, and his condition returns to peak form. Gathering all his remaining magic, he forms an enormous clear orb above the boss's head, the biggest one he can produce, preparing to end the fight in a single strike. The massive clear orb descends like a beam of destruction, crashing straight through the giant's body and tearing the rocky battlefield apart. The explosion engulfs everything in its path, shattering stone and sending shockwaves across the stage. When the light fades, he lowers his hand with a faint grin, wondering if he might have overdone it. The system confirms a giant stone man level 15 defeated. Clear orb's flight speed increases by 200%, and the battlefield finally goes silent. He looks at the aftermath and realizes just how massive the orb became after consuming all his magic. Now, its base flight speed has risen even further. Reviewing the updated skill details, he notices something important. Passive effects, which he had ignored before, are turning out to be extremely powerful, with Lotus Burst's passive expanding the range of all skills after each defeat. He understands the synergy. Clear Orb isn't just stronger, it's evolving into something far more dangerous. As the smoke clears, the system screen flashes bright green challenge success. Stage level 15 cleared. Challenger, Tenma Itsuki. Time used, 3 minutes and 1 second. The stage clear record is officially updated. The spectators freeze. A 5-person party usually takes over 10 minutes to clear this stage, and he did it alone in just 3 minutes. He didn't just win, he shattered the previous record completely. People start questioning everything. Did he really defeat all the disaster beasts in one hit? He even broke Tenijin's 3-minute 19-second record. What kind of monster clears a level 15 advanced stage that fast? And the biggest shock, he walks out almost unharmed, just a little dirt on his clothes. Still level 10, not injured, not exhausted. At this point, everyone realizes something abnormal has just entered the system. She admits it. He cleared the stage again without a scratch and even broke Jin's record. She's genuinely surprised. The whole fight ended way faster than expected. He casually says the disaster beasts were weak against defense, so it wasn't difficult for him. Then he notices the glowing green butterfly near her and asks about it. That small detail might be important. She introduces herself as a Shikigami user and reveals the glowing butterfly is her Shikigami named Tamachu. He's surprised since it's his first time seeing a Shikigami up close, and he admits it looks beautiful. Curious, he asks what kinds of awakened jobs exist because he genuinely doesn't know. She smiles confidently and explains that awakened jobs are divided into 4 main types, and he has already encountered 3 of them. She explains the first type of awakened job is the elementalist users who control the 7 elements like fire, water, wind, earth, metal, wood, and lightning. They're the most common and have strong combat ability. She points out that his classmate belongs to this type, and even that Oga from earlier was one too. Then she moves to the second type Shikigami users. Unlike elementalists, they summon powerful beings that obey only them, just like her butterfly. She shows Tamachu's status a B-rank Shikigami at level 15 and explains that Shikigami are born connected to their masters. Confidently, she asks if he has any questions so far. Then she drops the bomb his level is actually lower than his own Shikigami, and asks if he's really a veteran awakened. Her blunt comment hits hard, leaving him speechless while she casually wonders if he even understands the concept of sugar coating. She explains that Shikigami constantly absorb experience and level up, which is why they're usually stronger than their masters. So in battle, the smarter move isn't fighting the Shikigami, it's targeting the user directly. As she speaks, she suddenly senses a strange negative aura leaking from him, and it makes her uneasy. But he calmly ignores that tension and asks what the other awakened job types are since she has only explained 2 so far. She reveals the third awakened job, the most mysterious one with the least information. That job is Order Breaker, and surprisingly, that's his job. She explains why it's mysterious. Every Order Breaker has completely different abilities. No fixed pattern, no clear limits. Some can change their body size, some create infinite clones, some stretch their bodies like rubber, and his ability is connected to the Blue Lotus. In short, he's a walking anomaly. She explains that regular jobs are ranked from C to S, but order breakers don't follow that system. Their skills exist outside the normal framework. Because their abilities are unique and exclusive, order breakers are treated differently. If their skills become known, they lose their biggest advantage. She reveals that from what she confirmed, he can use at least 3 skills, and 2 of them normally belong only to elementalists. That makes him an irregular even among order breakers. Hearing all this, he realizes this conversation is dangerous. If their teacher finds out more about him, he could be in serious trouble. He asks about the last awakened job, but she teases him, saying she'll only explain it after he sees it himself. She calls it punishment for not sharing anything about himself. Then she reminds him the students he saved are safe and asks what he plans to do next. He says he might clear the stage a few more times, but she warns him this one has a cooldown and can't be entered again for at least 2 days. He realizes because of cooldown time, that's why the Kinoshita family controls most stages. Then he asks an important question: is there a stage filled with a large number of disaster beasts? She immediately understands what he's thinking and mentions one stage in particular. It's called Locust Wasteland. The beasts there aren't high level, but there are over 100 of them. So many that most awaken back out just by seeing the numbers. She warns him that without AI skills, clearing a stage packed with enemies will be extremely difficult. But he confidently says he's going anyway, acting like it's no big deal. The others are shocked. They can't believe he's heading to the Locust Wasteland and say he really doesn't know fear. Meanwhile, someone notices something strange. The stage area is completely empty, not a single person in sight. They confirm the target has disappeared, and it's only been 30 minutes since he cleared the flaming rock execution ground. Realizing he's been outplayed, the red-haired man gets furious, feeling like he's being made a fool of. He orders his men to contact the Hound and track him down, saying there must be magic traces left behind. With rage in his eyes, he gives the final command: capture him alive, no matter what, because he wants him to experience living hell. The man hides in a dark alley, breathing heavily. He regrets accepting the assassination request and admits he didn't expect Kinoshita Ryuji to have such a powerful subordinate. He realizes that without his Earth escape technique, he would have died earlier. Thinking he's finally safe after getting this far, he lets his guard down. But in the next second, a monstrous hound lunges at him from behind, jaws wide open, ready to tear him apart. The giant hound slams him to the ground, crushing him under its weight as he struggles to breathe. Half-conscious and bleeding, he desperately asks how they managed to find him. A calm voice answers from behind, telling the beast named Death to ease up so he can talk. The man in the hat coldly explains that their Death has an exceptional sense of smell, meaning escape was never an option. The man in the hat calmly explains that his hound can sense the smell of death coming off its target. The injured man, shaking and covered in blood, desperately begs for his life. But the hunter coldly replies that sparing him would be difficult, especially since his master would be displeased and the hound hasn't tasted human flesh in a long time. With glowing red eyes, he gives the final command: it's mealtime. After tearing through his target, the death hound levels up. Its tracking ability grows even stronger, able to detect magic traces and hunt down its prey without fail. The hunter calmly checks his phone, confirming the job is finished. During the call, he learns that someone was badly injured and immediately guesses it must be that stubborn Oga, wondering if his weak point was exposed. Without hesitation, he ends the call and heads out, saying he's on his way ready for the next hunt. Standing beside his massive death hound, the hunter senses something new in the air. They arrive at the Locust Wasteland. Endless wheat fields stretch to the horizon, making him question if there are really that many locust-type disaster beasts here. She explains that disaster beasts tend to invade environments that suit them. That's why predicting the type based on terrain is an essential skill for Awakened. Hearing this, he understands the logic behind the stage design. But she adds one more thing: this stage's danger level is so high that there's even a proposal to dismantle it completely. He questions why this stage faces dismantlement when its level is lower than flaming rock execution ground. She explains the real problem here: the disaster beasts are far more aggressive and abnormally numerous. The moment you lower your guard, countless locusts will surround you from every direction. And once they do, they won't just defeat you, they'll devour you down to the marrow of your bones. When he hears there are countless disaster beasts inside, instead of backing down, he says that's perfect. She warns him, asking if he's in a hurry to die, but he calmly replies that he has no intention of being eaten by bugs. Without hesitation, he walks toward the gate and enters the stage alone. From his attitude, she realizes he seems confident. Still, she reminds herself that he chose this stage on his own. She gave all the advice she could. Whatever happens now is his responsibility. After he enters the stage, she suddenly realizes she forgot to tell him something crucial: locusts won't stop spawning unless their boss is defeated. Her expression turns serious. She decides she has to inform Letna immediately before things get worse. But before she can act, she senses someone behind her and turns around. A man with glowing red eyes smirks and calmly says he's looking for someone, and from his gaze, it's clear he didn't come here by coincidence. Inside the wasteland, he looks around at the dry, endless fields and calmly mutters what a mess this place is. Clapping his hands together, he declares that he's here to exterminate every last pest. As the swarm rises from the cracked ground, he checks their stats and notices something interesting: their individual levels are surprisingly low. Since they meet the conditions for Lotus Burst, he smirks confidently. For him, this won't be a problem at all. A massive swarm fills the sky, covering the wasteland in a dark cloud. Instead of panicking, he's impressed by their numbers. He summons a blazing lotus in his palm, flames dancing around him as he says this actually works in his favor. The more the locusts cluster together, the easier it becomes. Once they enter Lotus Burst's range, he plans to wipe them out in one move. The swarm dives toward him, and at the perfect moment, he activates the skill. Now it's over. He activates Lotus Burst, and in an instant, a massive explosion erupts, swallowing the entire swarm in flames. System messages flood in non-stop. Evil locusts are defeated one after another, each kill increasing his skill range by 1%. As the dust settles, dozens, then over 100, are confirmed eliminated. The passive effect stacks rapidly. He calmly calculates the result. With more than 100 defeated at once, Lotus Burst's range expands dramatically. One move, total annihilation. After the explosion, he calmly calculates his magic. Against beasts of this level, using just 10% output is more than enough, and he still has plenty of mana left. With his current recovery speed, he figures he can fire Lotus Burst about 10 more times. If he keeps stacking the passive, his skill range could increase massively. But then he notices something strange: the challenge completion notification isn't appearing. Suddenly, a system alert pops up. A C-rank skill called Mother's Will is detected, and another ability activates for analysis. His expression hardens. This stage isn't over yet. Just when he thinks it's over, he senses something off. There's still a survivor. The ground suddenly erupts as locusts swarm again, forming a massive vortex around him. He realizes the truth: Mother's Will, the boss's skill, was active the whole time. He had lowered his guard, believing there was no boss. He prepares to expand Lotus Burst again, but there's a problem: he has no idea where the real boss is hiding. He activates Lotus Burst again, expanding its range to 16 meters. If the boss won't show itself, he'll wipe out every remaining locust. Explosions chain across the battlefield as dozens of locusts are defeated. His skill range keeps increasing with every kill. The system confirms multiple eliminations, pushing the passive bonus even higher. But even after clearing more than 10 small fries, the boss still hasn't appeared, meaning it's hiding somewhere nearby, waiting. More locusts suddenly spawn again. The swarm isn't ending, it's multiplying. The system's analysis continues progressing, but the battlefield keeps filling up. He checks his mana, still enough to use Lotus Burst several more times. Without hesitation, he gathers flames in his palm again. No matter how many times they respawn, he'll burn them all down. He unleashes Lotus Burst again, blasting the swarm away in a massive chain of explosions. Locust after locust is defeated, and the system keeps stacking his passive bonus. The skill's range skyrockets, now covering a huge area, over 50 meters wide, with nearly a plus 990% range increase. His Lotus Burst turns into a battlefield-wide wipe, but the real boss still hasn't shown itself. After defeating wave after wave, his Lotus Burst range has increased increased massively, but his mana is nearly drained. The locusts keep spawning endlessly. No matter how many he wipes out, they return again. He realizes there's still no sign of the boss appearing at all. With magic running low, he considers retreating and retrying later, but that's what weaker hunters would do. He refuses to back down. Even with low mana, he activates Lotus Burst again, determined to wipe out every disaster beast. A massive explosion blooms like a flaming lotus, engulfing the battlefield once more. He braces himself, believing this attack should finally thin their numbers. But the swarm keeps pouring in. Their numbers haven't decreased at all. The stage is far from over. The analysis reaches 91%, and he finally understands the locusts are reproducing infinitely. A queen locust is revealed. Her skill, Mother's Will, remotely controls and continuously hatches new locusts. He realizes that unless he defeats the queen, all his attacks are meaningless, but his magic is almost exhausted. At 100% analysis, a new skill unlocks magic detection. Now, he finally has a way to track the hidden boss. With magic detection unlocked, his detection range now exceeds 100 meters, and his mana recovers every time he senses an enemy. He realizes this passive effect is perfect for this stage. Instead of retreating, he decides to finish it now. The new skill boosts all his stats, removes debuffs, and fully heals his injuries. Activating magic detection, he finally begins locating the hidden boss. The hunt has truly begun. Activating magic detection, waves of energy spread across the battlefield, scanning every living presence. Amid the endless swarm, a single abnormal magic source stands out. His eyes sharpen. He finally spots it. The hidden queen is revealed. With a confident smile, he points forward. Now that he's found the boss, this fight is about to end. He launches a powerful orb straight toward the queen, ignoring the endless swarm around him. The boss tries to hide behind its offspring, but he knows it's useless. With Lotus Burst's passive boost, the orb's flight distance extends over 120 meters, more than enough to reach her. The attack cuts through the air at full speed, heading directly for the queen locust. The final blow is coming. The orb strikes true, piercing through the queen's defenses despite her desperate resistance. He closes the distance instantly, lightning surging around him as he delivers the finishing blow. With a cold smile, he declares victory. The queen locust is defeated. The swarm immediately collapses into chaos. Without their queen, the endless reproduction finally stops. The stage is cleared. With the queen gone, he wipes out the remaining swarm effortlessly. His Lotus Burst now covers over 65 meters, and the passive bonus surpasses +1 in 200%. Satisfied with the results, he admits this stage was a great harvest for boosting his skills. He plans to challenge it again after cooldown, aiming to push Lotus Burst's passive into 5 digits. As he exits, the system announces a new record cleared in 17 minutes and 7 seconds. He realizes he took longer than expected, and Choa must be worried. After exiting the stage, he thinks about Choa. He knows that once he returns safely, she'll probably act distant again, even though she genuinely cares. He greets her casually and apologizes for making her worry, noticing how her awkward honesty is strangely cute. Suddenly, he senses something off. His expression sharpens as a killing intent locks onto him. A man steps forward, impressed that he cleared the stage solo. He confirms it. The one they've been searching for is him. 4. The man in the hat approaches calmly, saying the timing is perfect since he was already trying to gather information about him. Even injured, he refuses to stay silent, showing more backbone than most. Seeing Choa being restrained, he coldly orders the man to let go of her, warning that he won't forgive him for even half killing her. The stranger only laughs, mocking him as nothing more than a level 0 rookie and underestimating his strength. Before the man can react, lightning erupts around him. In a flash, he launches forward with a charged punch, his killing intent exploding as the real fight begins. Before his punch can land, a massive black hound intercepts him at terrifying speed. The man is shocked, realizing the attack wasn't aimed by the hat-wearing stranger himself. The system identifies it instantly be rank Shikigami, Death Hound. At the same time, Overmimes's activates and begins analyzing the enemy. He quickly understands the situation. The dog is a summoned Shikigami, which means the man man in the hat is a Shikigami user. Watching the creature's precise and efficient movements, he concludes the opponent is no amateur. No wasted motion, overwhelming speed, no wonder Oga lost before he could even react. The man tightens his grip on Choa and smugly declares that he now holds both death and a hostage in his hands. Ignoring the threat, he lunges forward and grabs the death hound mid-attack, refusing to let it reach Choa. The monstrous hound opens its jaws wide, its bite powerful enough to crush anyone with low defense. The analysis continues climbing past 30%. Confident in his summoned strength, the hat-wearing man mocks him, saying at best he'll lose an arm, but the look in his eyes shows he has no intention of backing down. The death hound lunges to bite him, confident it can crush his arm in one snap. But instead of retreating, he calmly forms a condensed orb of energy in his hand and drives it straight into the beast at point-blank range. The purple blast erupts from inside the hound's mouth, tearing through it instantly. The summon collapses lifelessly as the analysis jumps to 77%. Watching his Shikigami fall, the man in the hat is stunned, and just as he realizes it without a Shikigami user is practically defenseless. The man in the hat smirks, confident the fight isn't over. He reveals that the Death Hound can respawn, and its cooldown is greatly reduced thanks to a B rank skill. Moments later, the supposedly dead Shikigami reforms, blood still staining the ground as it rises again. The hound lunges straight at him, jaws wide open, while its master mocks him for being careless. But instead of panicking, he activates magic detection. Waves of energy spread outward as he prepares to counter the endless respawn. He keeps magic detection active, calmly fighting while the analysis climbs past 90%. He realizes activating it was the right choice. From a distance, he watches the man holding Choa hostage. The analysis is nearly complete, and if overmimes these triggers again, the opponent will grow cautious. The man in the hat starts to panic. He recognizes that his opponent surpasses the Death Hound in both power and speed, and even has detection abilities, making surprise attacks impossible. Cornered, he tightens his grip on Choa and threatens her life, warning that if he resists any further, she dies. The analysis finally reaches 100%. He unlocks a new skill, Shikigami Eater LV2, boosting all his stats by 20. The system reveals its true effect. By directly touching a Shikigami, he can seize ownership of it. He realizes skipping the Blue Lotus recovery comes at a price, but since he fully healed in the previous stage, he can still fight at nearly full strength. As the Death Hound charges again, he understands the skill's real potential. It allows him to steal another person's Shikigami. With calm eyes, he prepares to turn the enemy's own summon against its master, shifting the tide of battle completely. Calmly gathering his energy, he decides that if that's the case, he'll simply take the enemy's summon for himself. As the Death Hound charges again, he meets it head-on and grabs it directly, activating Shikigami Eater. A surge of energy erupts as control shifts. The hound freezes mid-attack, its connection to its master severed. With a swift motion, he kicks the beast away, not as an enemy anymore, but as a weapon he now controls. Seeing his Shikigami turn against him, the man in the hat panics and curses at it, furious that it betrayed him. Desperate, he tightens his grip around Choa's neck and threatens to snap it if he resists any further. Despite her injuries, Choa weakly tells him not to worry about her, trying to stop him from risking himself. Hearing that, he slowly raises his hands, pretending to comply, but his eyes remain sharp as he tells the man to leave her alone. The man mocks him, claiming that if he had obeyed from the start, Choa wouldn't have suffered. Calm and composed, he asks why he's being targeted, stating he doesn't remember earning anyone's grudge. The man finally reveals the truth. He introduces himself as Charles the Hound and says he's acting under orders. Kinoshita Ryuji is furious that he entered a North District Stage 4 area without permission, and he's been sent to capture him. Hearing the name, he turns serious. If that's the case, he decides he'll meet Kinoshita Ryuji directly and settle this matter himself. Charles warns him that he'll meet Kinoshita soon enough in a broken body. He threatens to have death bite off his legs if he keeps resisting. The protagonist calmly turns his back and walks away, ignoring the threats and pressure. With a cold stare, he calls out to the beast and tells Death to prove it deserves proves to be his Shikigami. The Death Hound instantly reacts and lunges not at him, but toward its own master, shocking Charles as the tide of battle begins to shift. Lightning bursts around him as the Death Hound turns on Charles. Shocked and terrified, Charles can't understand why his own Shikigami is attacking him. The beast stands obediently beside its new master. He calmly praises it for its performance. With the Death Hound now under his control, he steps forward while holding Choa in his arms, aura surging around him. Cold and furious, he declares that he'll return the pain Choa suffered tenfold, no, 100-fold, and makes it clear that Charles will deeply regret laying a hand on them. Terrified, Charles begs him to listen and claims he was only following Ryuji's orders. He even proposes joining forces to take Ryuji down together. With glowing red eyes, he coldly accepts the proposal, his tone making it clear he has no intention of forgiving him. Seeing what looks like hesitation, Charles smirks and thinks he's found an opening. Suddenly, Charles launches a desperate attack, shouting for him to die trying to strike while he believes his guard is down. He calmly states that he doesn't need anyone's help to deal with Kinoshita Ryuji. Alone, he is more than enough. Holding Choa in his arms, he orders Death to give Charles the same treatment Choa received. Sweating and trembling, Charles realizes the situation is hopeless. He desperately claims it was an accident and begs for another chance. Ignoring his pleas, the Death Hound steps forward with glowing red eyes. With a cold command, mealtime, the beast prepares to carry out its master's judgment. Terrified, Charles desperately calls out to Death, reminding it that he is its master and begging it not to forget everything he's done. The Death Hound responds with a savage roar, its loyalty now completely shifted. Holding Choa, he calmly turns his gaze elsewhere and states that someone has been watching him since he left the stage. Without even looking directly, he coldly asks how long they plan to keep hiding and tells them to show themselves. The area falls silent as the tension settles, the battlefield now completely under his control.